Welcome to Protea Conversations, the podcast where leadership in business and accounting isn't just discussed, it's explored. I'm your host, Zane Stevens, and thank you for joining me as we delve into the minds of some of the most influential leaders in the industry. Our journey is one of discovery, from unraveling the unique stories that shaped our guests' careers to the invaluable advice that fueled their success. We are here to provide you with simple, actionable advice to accelerate your career and personal growth. Whether you're a budding professional or a seasoned executive, these conversations are designed to offer insights and perspectives that resonate with everyone. So tune in, engage, and be inspired as we build better leaders together. Welcome to Protea Conversations. Hey, Hannah. We are very fortunate today to have Hannah Smolinski. Close enough, I hope.
Yes.
Put the pressure on myself by asking about it up beforehand.
Yeah.
Hannah is a certified accountant and innovative founder of Clara CFO Group, a virtual CFO agency that empowers small businesses with essential financial clarity and profit optimization strategies. With a rich background in one of the world's largest accounting firms, Hannah has channeled her corporate expertise into small business realm, providing transformative fractional CFO services. Beyond her agency, Hannah is a dynamic presence on YouTube, where she hosts a channel with over 70,000 subscribers, offering invaluable financial guidance to help small businesses flourish. Her journey from corporate accounting to entrepreneurial success is a testament to her dedication to making high-level financial expertise accessible to small business owners. Hannah, welcome to the channel.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Well, thanks for joining me. I must say, I've done a few of these now, and this was definitely the one I've been the most nervous for. One, because I knew I would trip over your name, even though we went over it in the beginning. But secondly, because you are just a YouTube superstar and somebody I have looked up to for many years now. Just the amazing work that you do, not just in just the quality of video, but the message that you share and the way you simplify very difficult financial topics into a way that the general population can understand. And I absolutely admire it. And I'm sure I probably feel like I'm that creep that always likes your posts on LinkedIn before everybody else. But just amazing to have you. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I mean, definitely not a YouTube superstar. So I certainly don't feel that way. And yeah, I really appreciate it. I mean, it's been so nice to have people's support as I've been posting videos, because sometimes you just think you're putting content out into the world, and actually having those likes and the comments and things like that, it does really help, because I do know that they're landing somewhere. So it's kind of it's always nice to hear that.
No, it has been great, and you've definitely been the inspiration for myself and my team in terms of what we're trying to do with our channel, and sort of the same. I mean, we're sort of trying to get to the same message at slightly different levels in the financial expertise, and it's always been great to see what you're doing, and we really appreciate it.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks so much.
So let's get into sort of the history and where you came from. You know, as mentioned in the beginning there, you started a really large accounting firm, audit firm, CPA firm, however they want to call it here in the US. I was also a big one, a different one. But tell us about your just over 5 years at EY.
Yeah. So, I mean, I kind of did like a pretty traditional route in the accounting realm. Did my undergrad in accounting. Although I knew I wanted to be in business, I didn't know that I wanted to be an accountant. I just wasn't exactly sure. But I had a family friend sit me down and say, Hannah, if you understand accounting is the language of business. So if you know that, and you know it really well, you can do whatever you want in business. So even if you don't want to be an accountant, you can go and you can do anything. And so that kind of encouraged me to be like, okay, well, like I had all these people telling me, if you understand this, you should probably go into accounting because like my, accounting 101 classes were just like totally clicking and everything, where everybody else was struggling. So I think that's a good indicator that I was in the right space just for how my brain worked. So I did a traditional accounting undergrad. I went and got my master's of accounting. I moved from South Carolina out to Washington State to get my master's at the University of Washington. And then I got an opportunity to do internships with EY and started that. And that was, it was really good. I loved working at EY. But it was just, the audit grind of, you go to year-end audits, then you move to quarterly. We had a lot of public companies. We have a lot of public companies out here in Seattle. So we had a lot of clients that were I started moving just from public company to public company, doing year-end audits, Q1, Q2, and then it was like, wait a second, I'm in year-round busy season. How did that happen? I thought busy season was supposed to be a couple months. So it was really great. I worked with tons of amazing people. I got so much experience. I feel like I got a lot of professional development, personal development at the firm, but ultimately just had to make a work-life decision and left that to go and work for a small engineering firm. So I left like big corporate audit and then went and worked for a small business, and that was quite the transition.
Yeah, that is quite the move. A lot of similarities in our path. Obviously, I started at KPMG, big firm as well. Also, a lot of audit. I also never had a quiet time. It just sort of seemed to flow and flow and flow. And even my quiet weeks were 45 hours, and I should be happy about it. But you did point in the one part there is that there is some benefits about starting that way, the big way. Like I know I received a ton of training, being at coaching, mentoring, but also just like if you're not an audit, you're in a training course and you're getting professional development and you're improving. Did you sort of experience the same thing at EY? Or was there a lot of the same? We just need to train these people up to be the best version that we want them of what we want them to be. I know not really the best version of us, but the version of the auditor.
Yeah, definitely. And I think they did a really good job too with performance management. Not just, yes, you had constant education. We always had like weeks of education that we would go and do, but then there were always like opportunities to do extra stuff and to learn other things. But then also just having that kind of, you have your managers who can give you feedback. I think that feedback structure was really good in public accounting. And then also, you joke that like, we can joke that public accounting is like an MLM, like it's a pyramid scheme. You have like tons of people coming in at the bottom levels, but it's not. But you do have that hierarchy structure where you always have somebody to review your work. You always have somebody to give you direct feedback, and that you learn so much from that process. So I think that's another really great thing about public accounting and kind of the development as you're just trying to figure it out. You're just straight out of college, and being able to have so much feedback right away is huge.
Yeah. I think that there is a lot of benefit in that because most of us, when you leave, you seem like your advice on becoming an accountant was a little bit better than what I received. I was just told, you're really good at accounting, you should go to accounting. I was like, I don't even know what that means, but here we go. So, for somebody that has gone through the accounting world, decided that's a good option, it's a great place to land because it does give you that guidance and it gives you interaction with a bunch of different people to see what other accountants could do with their career and give you some insight and potentially where you want to go with your career. Did that have any influence on sort of your decision on your next step after EY?
It really didn't. I never worked with anybody that I was like, ooh, I want to do that. Really, it was a choice for my own personal work life. And the business that I left to work with was actually my dad's business. So he was moving back from living overseas. He was living in Vietnam and relocating back to the States. And he needed somebody to sort of help like reestablish. The business had been operating for 30 years at that point, but needed a finance function, then also needed just a lot of like help organizationally getting the business up and running here in Washington. So it was kind of an opportunity to sort of do something a little bit outside of accounting, plus doing the accounting as well. And then also to help out my parent, and also to be able to like be guaranteed a 40-hour work week.
Okay, so it sort of a soft landing into the entrepreneurial world then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was interesting because it was definitely his business, but I kind of learned how to like run a business. I kind of on the back end of it. And what I realized from that, I was with him probably for another 5 years, but I just realized that there was only so much I could take somebody else's business because I really didn't know the operational piece of it. He was an engineer and a very, very technical engineer. I would never be able to learn enough to actually like move the business forward, even in like my marketing language. I couldn't do as much as I would want to actually grow his business. I could never own his business. And not that he was trying to give it to me or anything like that, but I just started to realize like I did like a part of that, but what was my special sauce and what was I really good at if I wanted to start something. And I actually was starting to think about moving overseas with my husband at the time. We had like our daughter, and we were considering living in Europe for a little bit. And I was like, well, how can we do that? Maybe we can have an online business. And so as we were kind of exploring that, I was like, hey, this whole like owning your own business thing might have some merit to it that maybe I should explore. Maybe there's some ideas there that I can go forward with. And then eventually I started to realize that what I was doing for this engineering firm, my favorite part was the advising the business owner, forecasting the financials, and making sure that he had the information he needed to make strategic decisions. And that's what I loved about my job. But I only did that for like 8 hours a month. It was like very, very small part of my job. And so I always thought, well, could I have a business where I did that for a bunch of other businesses? And that's kind of where the idea for Clara CFO came out.
And this is around 2017?
Yes. Yeah. It was called something different at first, but that was like always the idea about the business, is like provide business owners who need this kind of strategic financial information, just do it for as many business owners as I can. And at the time, I don't know if I was calling it fractional CFO services. I don't think I was. It took a little while to sort of like figure out how to sell that. And I took on bookkeeping clients. I did lots of other things. But I was always trying to figure out how can I get into that like advisory piece.
When did you eventually sort of tell your dad, thanks, but it's time for me to move along and go full time in with Clara?
Yeah, it was actually early of the next year, 2018. And I mean, he's always been super supportive. It was difficult. So obviously when you're working with family, there's lots of dynamics there that can be challenging. But he's always been supportive, and really still to this day, we're still his CFO. So now we just hired in people to do all the other jobs, all the other hats that I was wearing. I was doing sales and marketing. I was doing operations, just like not really project management, but just kind of running the office all around. We hired in an office manager. We hired in somebody to do the sales. They sell software. So we hired in people to do that piece. And then we're still able to serve them in a fractional CFO level, really the same way we serve all of our other clients. So.
And I mean, you mentioned that you were wearing different hats, and obviously you came from the accounting background, but you've shown that you're pretty good at the marketing side. So how did you make that decision that like, hey, I'm going to go the accounting way rather than pursuing some sort of marketing qualification or go the marketing route?
Do you mean in school or?
No, from that job. I mean, I'm assuming early on, because you are very good at it and you've shown a lot of ability to do it well. Like, was there ever a moment during that time when you think, hey, maybe accounting wasn't the route for me?
Thank you. I did not feel like marketing was a strength of mine. When I was working for the engineering firm, I was in charge of their marketing, but I was not getting traction. And I think some of it has to do with when you know something really well, you can write and you can speak to it and you can do content marketing. I couldn't do any content marketing for the engineering firm because I didn't know their content. And so it was interesting. Now being in an accounting, it's so easy to do content marketing because it's just natural to like what I know. So it's easy to pump out a lot of information because it's what I know. So I think I would probably never do very well in a marketing role for other businesses, but I just naturally have a little bit of a marketing bent for maybe like what I really know myself.
Okay. So it's clearly doing some good marketing stuff. Didn't believe that had the marketing. Was clearly a good CFO, but didn't really believe that you were a CFO in the start of your company. When did that all change? When did Hannah wake up and go, you know what? I'm more than I'm allowing myself to be here, and I am a fractional CFO, and I can add value to these businesses, and I know how to do marketing, and I can add a lot of value to my own business and potentially a lot of other people through my content marketing. When did those light bulbs just, when did the light turn on?
I think probably in stages. It doesn't all turn on at the same time, right? I think that the CFO side, I started to gain a lot of confidence when I just started working with businesses in that capacity. When they weren't hiring me for bookkeeping, they weren't hiring me for accounting. They were just hiring me because they needed the strategic advice. And the work that we were doing together was just, the feedback loop was, this is so helpful. I can't, I can't go without you. Like this is not that we're building reliance on us, but just like people were finding so much value in it that it just started to be like, they couldn't imagine not having somebody like this on their team now, because they've gone a long time without having it. And now it's like that light bulb moment of they really need it. I started to feel more confident probably in like 2019 of the work that we were doing, how important it was. But then and my own, I started to build more confidence in like how I was working with clients like consistently. But then really on the marketing side, what happened there? I think like I had a YouTube channel in 2018, but I posted like people used to do Facebook Lives. I don't know if people remember that, but that was like kind of something that people were talking about. Hey, do Facebook Live. That's a way to do content marketing. So I was doing Facebook Lives at some point and then putting them onto YouTube. And then I had put a video up on YouTube that was just like a Gusto tutorial, the payroll provider Gusto. I had put that up and I checked it a year or two later and it had 7,000 views on it. And I was like, wow, 7,000 views, that's a lot of views, and some people had maybe signed up for Gusto because of that. And I was like, that's a potential interesting thing. But so at the beginning of 2020, I thought to myself like, hey, is there maybe some opportunity for me to do more videos like that? Either just, teach people about something. Is there like I can just maybe start putting more videos up. Maybe that's something I want to do. I was at a strategic, like a couple of my accounting friends, we went on a little retreat in Florida at the very, very beginning of 2020. And that was one of the things that I said for the year, I wanted to lean more into YouTube. And then we all know what happened in March of 2020. So with that, I already had this YouTube platform and I never even thought of like, hey, I'll start doing videos on PPP, all of the different stimulus packages that came in. But I was freaked out about small business owners not knowing what to do. And I was really like, just kind of that panic moment of, oh my gosh, my clients are confused and I need to teach them. But then if my clients are confused and they have a CFO, what are all these other small business owners going to do when like nobody's going to know about it? It was a first come, first served program at the beginning. And it was just like this sort of panic moment. So I did a webinar with a friend of mine. And then I was like, oh, this webinar should go up on YouTube so we can like link it to people, basically just so we could send it to a bunch of people afterwards. That was the only reason. Never thought it would get tons of views, but then it was like people were sharing it, liking it, it blew up. And then their questions started rolling in. And then it was, okay, answer this question. So I would never say that like I'm like any kind of marketing. I never had a big marketing plan. It was really all out of, and at the time, my channel had 50 subscribers on it at the beginning in March of 2020, 50. And I never had this grand plan of like, I'm going to grow a YouTube channel. It was 100%, I need to tell people about this and what way can I get a message out? And that's where it kind of all started.
It's a pretty incredible story. I remember seeing you popping up on LinkedIn and your videos, and it was just like, wow, this person really knows what they're talking about. So you did a really good job at least pretending you knew what was going on. And
there were a lot of Friday nights with lots of printed out versions of the latest interim final rule. I did read all the documentation, so I definitely like dug pretty deep into it, and it was a little bit of a crazy time.
I mean, I feel you. I was that person at our company doing the same thing, and trying to call in favors with big CPA firms who I know had 50 people in their technical departments, jumping on it to try to get clarity on what I was reading.
Right.
Which was always the hardest part. I was sort of, while you were talking and working us through that process, just taking a look at your YouTube channel. and going to videos and hitting all this, and I see the little Facebook Live video still there, which is pretty awesome that you can still go see how.
Probably should delete those.
There's some good ones here. I think it's the fourth video is over 6,000 views, and then the QuickBook demo for Gusto Payroll, 12,000 views from 5 years ago. My guess is you're still getting hits on those on a regular basis. That video probably still brings people to.
Probably a little bit on the old ones, but usually the newer stuff like pops up more, like with the way the algorithm works, they'll offer like newer content. So we've done like updated videos since then on some of these platforms.
Yeah. As I look, Clara CFO Group YouTube channel, which we will drop a link in, is at 71.8 thousand subscribers. So tons of people loving that video. And the latest video went up 4 days ago, forecasting personal cash flow for small business owners. So lots of really good information, not just accounting stuff that Hannah shares. It's just really good information for business owners in general, which I think is one of my favorite parts. It's not just the pure accounting stuff. It's how do you become a better business owner? How can you set yourself up for better success? And it's really, again, one of my favorite places to go. I typed C and it popped up there and it's like, oh, what are your favorites? It's like, great, good, as it should be.
Thank you.
Let's take a little step back and we'll turn back to the YouTube channel. But I did, like, while you were talking and you're talking about the work that you do for your clients, you're definitely using the word we every single time, which I'm assuming means there's more than one of you.
Yes. I think I've defaulted to say we, even though a lot of like things, it was probably just me for a while, but now we have a team. So yeah, it just kind of comes out more naturally. And I've always wanted it to be that way. I renamed the business in 2019 to Clara CFO Group very specifically, because I never wanted it to just be, hey, work with Hannah, the CFO.
Yeah.
As much as, I love working with my clients, the idea is that I am not the main person working with clients. And honestly, I tell clients now as we're growing the team, you don't even really want to work with me because I'm pulled in so many different directions. I'm probably not going to be the most responsive. My email is the most cluttered. Like I have a lot of different things pulling at my attention at this point. So if you want somebody who's really going to be dedicated directly to you and be a lot more responsive, you probably don't want to work with me. So that's why we're bringing on more CFOs on the team. So right now we have 6 employees on the team, but some of them are part-time. We have 2 CFOs and then 1 full-time, 1 part-time. And then I'm still working, I would say probably about 50% of my time is still on client work. And it was supposed to be 30, but we're growing. And so I've got a little bit of extra CFO clients right now. But I do really enjoy still working with people. And then we have admin and marketing, and then we have some bookkeeping support.
Great. And what sort of industries do you guys help out?
Sure. We're mostly in B2B service companies. So we work with marketing agencies, engineering companies, architecture firms, consulting. We have a lot of like different types of consulting. So DEI consulting and education consulting, mostly anytime that people are the biggest expense, and the things that come along with that as people are trying to grow and scale service industries.
Great. Sticking to your roots from your assignment with your dad, and it's great to hear that he's still one of your clients. Do you work with him directly still, or is he working with one of your team members now?
I do. We meet every other week.
Nice. As somebody that works with my wife on a daily basis at Protea, I can appreciate the difficulties I'm sure she experiences with me. I'm fine with it. I'm sure it's tough for her, and I'm sure it's an interesting dynamic as well. But a great part of the story and a wonderful thread to follow through. So you're all working with a team. How have you found that? Obviously you did start by yourself and you've grown it to 6 people now. So how's that sort of interaction, relationship, the additional responsibility that you have on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah, I love working with a team. I would not go back to being solo unless I was just, very, very part-time working or something like that. It would not be a direction I would want to go. I think that working as a team is way better. I like that I can lean on people who have different strengths than I do. We just promoted our other full-time CFO into also like a COO role. So she's also being able to take on some of the leadership pieces of being able to have some direct reports, and then being able to also take on some of the overall business management pieces. So that's been really, really good for us. I think that it took a while to figure out delegation and to give up control and to understand. I think it's difficult and challenging for sure to hire the right people. And I've definitely made some mishires and gone through that, and have employees just like disappear completely. And you're like, oh, that's not what I thought I was working with. So, I mean, I've even though I have 6 team members now, I've definitely had some of the ups and downs that anybody has when they're building and growing a team. So, we're really tiny. I mean, we're never going to be super huge. I think we'll always be a boutique firm, but, I do really enjoy having team members, and it's for me, it's about how do I really like empower them more, and how do I make sure that they are in, having a good work experience working here. I do want Clara CFO to be a place that people are really loving working at. And we want to be different than a lot of the accounting firms that, the other accounting jobs that people can potentially have. We want to be like going away from the, crazy work hours and everything. And we want to have that consistent 40-hour work week or less, or, even less if somebody wants to like have a little bit more of a flexible work life. So I don't know what the original question was, but I like building a team.
I don't remember what the original question was either, but that was amazing. So it's great to hear your passion, and you can truly hear that you are interested in growing something special. And it seems from the outside that is what is happening, and it's been fun to watch. On that, though, you are fairly new to the leadership space in your own company, and it is something that I'm sure you're learning as you're going along. As you mentioned, challenges with hiring and managing people and trying to delegate. Those things are all tough. But what do you think has been the biggest lesson into the realm of leadership, since you've started?
I think in leadership, I don't know. I mean, I always struggle because I do feel like I have like a natural bend towards leadership. But I probably need to do a lot more concentrated development on my leadership skills. I think for me, it feels very natural to lead by example and to make sure that I am acting in a way that I also want my employees to be able to act, or that I'm not, calling myself an exception. Like, oh, everybody else needs to do this, but I'm the exception. I don't have to do that. So leading by example, although I'm like thinking of things in my head right now that I'm like, I'm not very good at that, like tracking my time. Like there are definitely some things that I need to work on. I think I always want to lead in a way that puts me at their service as well. So I feel like there's kind of that servant leadership aspect that I always appreciate when I see people doing that, and I respect it. Yeah, I don't know if I have any leadership lessons or anything that I can say and point to, but I do feel like I want to be a part of an organization where I feel like I care about my people. They feel cared for, and that they also feel like their quote unquote leader is accessible and willing to do what it takes to in hard moments.
Yeah, there's a lot in there, even though you might feel like you didn't say anything, but I don't think people say lead by example enough. And what I took from what you just said was you got to act in a way that you shouldn't do anything that you wouldn't want your team members to do, and you don't really want to ask people to do things that you wouldn't want to do.
Yeah.
And that's really important lesson. I think sometimes new leaders at times can get a little power hungry or do see themselves as an exception, and it's quick to forget that you are supposed to be setting the example. And if you can lead with, kindness and understanding and show people the way that you want the firm to be reflected and the team to be reflected, that is an amazing lesson that way too few leaders take to heart. So I appreciate that, and thank you for sharing that.
Absolutely.
Okay, what are your short-term goals for Clara CFO?
Short term in a year, 3 years, what you looking for?
Whatever you define short.
Yeah. Because we just went through, we're actually implementing EOS in our business, and we're kind of talking about, quarter goals, year goals, the 3-year target, those kind of things for anybody who's familiar with the entrepreneur operating system. I'd say like short term for me would be like a year to 3 years. I think by year 3, I definitely want to be in a place where I am in a visionary role only. So not necessarily owning any client relationships, but I love the strategic part of the client conversation. So I like the idea of being able to sit in on clients when they like have some big thing that they need to be thinking about, or something they want to work on, or they want another head in the room for brainstorming on different things. I think that's kind of my superpower. I think on a Kolbe, if you've ever done the Kolbe assessment, I'm pretty high on like a quick start. So I'm very good at like creating ideas, not so great at the follow through of like seeing it to the finish line. So, I have to know myself on that. So I like the idea of being able to sit really in my zone of genius, in that, I can sit in that strategic advisory seat, both for my business, but also for clients. And I think the other piece of that is, as silly as it may sound, I don't want to work at night. But what that means is that I have a much better grasp of what I need to do during the day, and then I don't have a 40 plus work life right now. Right now, I still have to do some work at night, and I'm a single parent, and I don't want to have to like put my kid to sleep and then go and work for a couple more hours. I don't like that. I just want her to be able to get home from school, and then we're done for the day. So I want that like 30-hour work week is really what I'm working towards. And that's in the short term. Like I'd like to see that. And I think it's very realistic with the business that I'm building and the team that I'm building around me. I think it's realistic to do that. So.
Yep, those are great goals. And I appreciate them all, especially with having young kids that take up more and more of my time on a daily basis.
Yes.
I rely heavily on my wife for the ups and downs, but the sports side of it for 2 young boys tends to fall on me, and I'm always trying to find time to solve it. So that's a great goal. I love that. Let's twist quickly back to the YouTube channel. Again, absolutely amazing, great content. If you're a small business owner, a young accountant, just somebody who wants to learn something, you really need to go check out Hannah's YouTube channel. The Clara CFO Group is the official name on YouTube. What is the vision for the YouTube channel? Where's it going?
Oh, that's such a good question, because I'm working on this right now and I'm trying to figure out what does that look like. I love the platform of YouTube, and I think that it provides so many opportunities to get that message out. That's why I started doing it, is to get the message out. And so what it really is me probably needing to hone the message. Like, what exactly do I really want small business owners to know? The channel has been always talking to small businesses. Accountants watch it too. That's what we've found, is that, my assumption is that we probably have an 80% market of 80% viewership of business owners, and probably 20% viewership of accountants. But we will still talk to small business owners. So that's the goal. I think that the goal for YouTube will be to figure out how to make it more of a clear place that like has a good, like solid message and that can be followed. And if that means that we have to like tag in, like also providing some additional courses and things like that, we might do that. I think we want to figure out, like, we have the following, so how do we monetize it a little bit better? I mean, we do have, ads that we sell, or like Google will, have AdSense on it. So we do make some money from that. We do sell like spreadsheets and a few things here and there, but we don't really have like a big offer that we sell. I don't want it to turn into a you have some channels that like every single piece of content is sponsored and every video is about selling something. That kind of feels a little gross to me. So, but I do think that there strikes a balance of like bringing the right things to the audience that they really need and want. And then also getting compensated for that. I do a lot of free marketing on my YouTube channel right now that I've been advised to stop doing. So we'll see.
Yeah, which is always the tough part, right? Because what I get is that you're trying to help people. When you're trying to help people, you tend to give people free advertising because it's products that you love to use and you're recommending to other people, and that does become tough. And it's interesting because I do it as well. Maybe I don't have as big platform as you, but I share some of my favorite out there all the time. And some of these companies are way more thinking. They send you thanks in different ways, and others they're just like whatever. So it can be tricky and interesting, but maybe there's probably enough history to understand which ones to keep giving the free advertising to, and which of those that you just sort of shun away. But that's just me thinking out loud.
I think it's all about like staying authentic to what I truly believe in. And I think when you do have a little bit more of a platform, you have people who might be approaching you to say like, hey, will you talk about this? Will you talk about that? Will you talk about that? But, if I don't really see the point of it, I've definitely been approached by things. I'm like, I don't even understand why somebody would use this app. I'm definitely not going to talk about it. Like, I don't, it doesn't make any sense to me. I don't see the benefit. Why wouldn't they just do X, Y, and Z? So I try to challenge things like that. But, right now we don't do a lot of like sponsored content on the channel. But we will be taking like very strategic sponsorships, I think, in the future. But really with the YouTube channel, the idea is that we just continue to educate small business owners so that they feel more confident and comfortable in making financial decisions, and that they feel like they have that when they look at their numbers, it's not scary, that they know how to look at them. They know what to understand. They know what they need to be doing every month. They know what they need to be doing every year in order to ensure their financial success. So if we can figure out how to be the go-to source for that, I don't care if it doesn't get monetized. That will be like achieving my life's mission, probably.
Well, you're doing a great job at it, and I know you're my go-to. So thank you for all the work you do. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for the encouragement. I appreciate
that. You make it easy. Outside of work, outside of the YouTube channel, what sort of goals do you have for yourself?
My goals currently are around playing tennis. I picked up tennis in the fall of 2021, and I'm working on increasing my USTA ranking. So I'm just trying to have a great time doing that. It's like one of the most fun things I've picked up as an adult. I love the idea of having competition as an adult. It's been a long time since I've been able to compete at something like that, something physical. So I'm continuing to do that. And I think like personally, just trying to make my home as comfortable as I can with, where I love the little town where I live in, and I'm not planning on moving anytime soon. So just trying to like accomplish some house projects and things like that. But trying to keep life pretty simple, really, over here.
That's a great goal. I love the tennis throw in there. That's a new piece of information and very, very interesting. What is the best piece of advice you've ever received that helped you on your journey from starting out, deciding to start accounting, to where you are now running a successful outsourced CFO company?
I feel like I'm always like giving other people advice, and I know that I'm absorbing advice. But I was thinking about this question. I don't know where I got this or what it might have been just a podcast that I was listening to or something. But I think the concept of like, I'm a type of person who actually really cares about like people's opinions of me. And if I care about that too much, it will hold me back from doing things. Like it would hold me back from posting something on YouTube. It would hold me back from sending an email out to, like, I remember when my email list was like at 150 people and I would freak out every time I would send an email list. And now we're like over 15,000 people on our email list. So every time I send out an email, I'm just like, whatever. It's it's out in the world. I think this concept of like caring about whether the other people think can really hold us back in business and in life. And I think somebody, it may have been like, I don't know, maybe like the Mel Robbins podcast or something like that, was talking about nobody cares. Nobody's thinking about you as much as you're thinking about yourself, and worried about what other people are thinking. Like nobody's thinking that way. Like nobody's caring as much about what I'm wearing as I am. Nobody's thinking as critical about it. Nobody is, scrutinizing my words as much as I'm scrutinizing my words. Nobody's judging my content as much as I think they might be judging my content. So like everybody's so focused on themselves that nobody has time to like think about you as much as you think that they are, you know? So I feel like that was extremely freeing for me to be able to be like, it's not perfect, whatever, put it out there. Like it's not, if somebody's going to nitpick something really little, like that's on them. They need to have more going on in their life. If they're like, going to be sitting around scrutinizing me. So I think that has freed me up in a lot of ways to just put out content, do something, try something, do something different, post things on my website, like post pricing on my website where a lot of people like hold pricing really closely, just kind of business decisions like that, you can get really like tied up in for a while.
Absolutely amazing advice. Can't be a true truth. Nobody really cares about what you're doing. That's all in your head.
Yeah. And if they do, I don't know.
That's great. It means you've won. So you take it.
If you create a few haters out there, they're just going to boost the algorithm. Like one of my best videos ever actually has like a lot of people being like, she's not saying anything, or she's not saying anything for the first 6 minutes. Like that's like a common, like, I mean, there's tons of like good comments, but then there's like these negative comments on there. Like she's not, like, I left after the first 3 minutes because she's not talking about anything. I was giving context and I'm a very high context person.
Yep.
But a lot of people think that's nothing, that actually boosts the algorithm. So I'm like, thank you. Thank you for your negative feedback, because it's feedback.
I was listening to something about YouTube channels and podcasts in general, and the biggest thing is the haters are the ones that are really going to, make you successful. The more haters you have, the better you'll do.
Yeah. I don't have that many haters, but every now and then.
Yeah. Those are the ones who go out of their way to share stuff, say stuff, hit buttons, watch your videos, and they're literally doing the opposite of what they think they're doing, which is fun.
Okay.
If I was a new accountant starting out today, what advice would you give me?
I would say, as a new accountant, you have every opportunity in the world in business. And I mean, there's so many different ways that you can go with accounting. I would recommend try to see as many different types of opportunities as you can, whether you're doing it in your job or you're looking at other accountants who are doing things differently. You can go so many different ways with this profession. We have people who just do content, and then you have people who are auditing public companies, and then you have people who are doing tax returns for farmers in Indiana. I mean, you have so many different ways that you can go with it. You can run a remote bookkeeping business and live in Spain. I mean, you can do anything. So I think just keep your eyes open and see what kind of life do you really want, and what opportunities are out there, and go and get it.
Fantastic. Hannah, the Fractional CFO, YouTube star, aspiring tennis player, the super mom. But I'd like to know, can you share any more information about yourself that would give us an insight into who is Hannah the person?
Who is Hannah the person? Do you want to know like my quirks?
It's totally up to whatever you'd like to share with us. I will take anything.
Oh, okay. Hannah the person. So Hannah the person drinks decaf coffee now, because I used to be a caffeine addict. And I drink decaf coffee, which some people find is very weird. But I still drink like 3 cups of coffee a day, but it's all decaf because I like my sleep. That's another thing that Hannah really likes. I don't know. I think I have, gosh, there's so many different ways you could go with this question. Hannah, the person, very much wants, oh, there's like police going. I don't know if we want to wait that out.
It's you this time instead of not what it's normally me, because I do have a
Yeah.
fire station a block away from me. So
Yeah,
it's a
well-
nice change and give you a chance to think about what you want to say to me.
Yeah, I don't know where to go with this. Where do you want me to go with that?
I mean, I'll take Hannah, the ex-coffee addict that loves her sleep. Though if 3 cups is what you call an addict, you haven't been to my world, where I used to be at 12-ish cups a day.
Mm-hmm.
I've done a great job of improving my coffee intake, and I'm down to 6 cups a day.
Well, are we talking, well, here's the thing. Are you talking like cups in the coffee pot, or are you talking about cups like this? Because I call this 1 cup, which is probably 3 cups in the coffee pot.
Yeah, I mean, this is my current cup size, but
Okay.
it's definitely the smallest cup I own.
Yeah. Well, I used to be able to be a coffee drinker like up until like midnight. I was in college. You would just like go to a coffee shop and study. And then I would go home and fall asleep. And then the older I got, the more I realized, oh, yeah, caffeine actually affects my system. And I thought I was an insomniac. Turns out I just was drinking too much coffee. I also thought I had an anxiety problem. Turns out I was just drinking too much coffee.
Well, I had a cup of coffee at 9:30 last night, and I definitely got cursed out by my wife because she has the same issue and she's having to drink decaf. So I see the point.
It happens to some of us.
And I appreciate all of this. At Product Conversations, we like to end with rapid fire questions. I have 5 questions for you. Let me know when you're ready.
Okay. Like, am I giving 1-word answers?
Whatever comes to mind.
Okay.
Number 1, what is your dream vacation?
This should not be, this is rapid fire. I'm thinking, I'm just like I'm on an island somewhere, and it doesn't really matter where. I'm looking at blue water and I have a tropical drink in my hand. That's all I got.
That's perfect. Do you prefer audiobooks or paper books?
Audio.
If you have 20 minutes to exercise, what exercise would you be doing?
I'm usually on my bike, stationary bike.
Great. What is your favorite piece of technology that you're currently using to make your life better?
I think my phone makes my life better and worse at the same time, but it's really my only piece of technology I use very much besides my computer.
Great. And last question, a rapid fire. What was your favorite meal as a child?
I mean, I have been a pizza girl my entire life. So pizza still is. It probably still is my favorite. It's a lot more refined now. I like fancy pizza, but I've always been a pizza person.
Great. And with that, we end another Protea Conversations. Thank you for joining us in the journey of learning and inspiration. Today, we've gained insight from our guest and taken another step towards understanding the diverse tapestry of leadership in business and accounting. Remember, each conversation is a step towards the positive transformation of business leaders. We hope our discussion has given you valuable takeaways to apply in your own career and life. Don't forget to subscribe to Protea Conversations on YouTube and Spotify so you never miss an episode. We'd also love to hear your thoughts and experiences, so connect with me on social media channels. I'm most active on LinkedIn and would love you to join in the conversation. Join us next time for more engaging stories, advice, and conversations that matter. Until then, keep striving for excellence and embracing growth. Thank you for listening, be kind, and goodbye from Protea Conversations.